Hey everybody, welcome to Bogey USA. My name's Brianna, and today we're going to talk about 2023 goals. Before we talk about goals, let's talk about my disc golf history a little bit and get up to speed on how 2022 went. I started playing disc golf technically in probably middle school. So it was like very occasional, around a year, a couple rounds this summer maybe, but then didn't really play at all in my adulthood. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin where there weren't disc sports, like ultimate frisbee wasn't a thing, which I feel like is where a lot of the people who I know who play disc golf started with disc sports. My husband, for example, was an ultimate frisbee player, and now he's a big disc golfer. So as I mentioned in my last video, in 2020, my husband and I started playing a lot of disc golf. We had moved into a new house, done a lot of gardening, and suddenly disc golf was a way to get out and away from our house and away from our garden and kind of relax. At that point, I was mostly in it for fun, like casual, not super interested in discs, not super interested in getting better. Then in spring of 2021, I had our baby Frankie, and even though I was mentally and physically ready to play within a few weeks, Frankie was not ready for me to play. He didn't want to ride in a stroller until he was many months old. And so I spent a lot of the summer of 2021 walking with Frankie in a carrier while Marty played, because at that time I wasn't yet into disc golf. And so it was more like I was getting out on the course for a walk with Marty while he did the thing that he really enjoyed. Sometime at the end of the year, once I finally got to play again, I think around that time is probably when we started watching disc golf YouTube too. And I discovered that there are professional women disc golfers, and I actually started seeing women play disc golf, which I feel like it's a little bit different today. But when we were playing disc golf all through 2021, and before that, really occasionally did you ever see a woman playing disc golf. Most often, if there were women on the disc golf course, they were accompanying a group of dudes or even one guy. And it's like, why aren't you throwing? Eventually, I got into it enough that when we went on a vacation early in 2022 to Arizona, I said, hey, let's pack some discs and see what courses we might find. We played 3 different courses in Arizona. So we played one outside of Phoenix, Fountain Hills. Didn't get to play that whole one because Frankie was not being super cooperative. We played a course in Sedona, which is a really rough course on your discs, but hands down the best scenery I've ever seen on a disc golf course. And then we played a course in Flagstaff. That one was at the university. So all told, in 2022, I played 52 rounds of disc golf. I played 27 different courses. 20 of them were new to me last year. So if we're talking about goals, that's going to be a hard one to beat. And the reason my channel is named Bogeytown USA, I bogeyed 63% of holes that I threw last year. I parred only 33% and birdied 4% of them. My best score was a +2. And that was at, I think it's pronounced Moir Park, but I don't know, Moir. It's a small 9-hole course that is pretty easy. And actually we play a few different pretty easy 9-hole courses nearby, and still my best score is a +2. My worst score last year was a +42. That was at Blue Ribbon Pines, just north of the cities. That is a 27-hole course, so I got to give myself a little bit of a break, but yeah, still. And then the last stat that I was able to pull from UDisc, the longest throw that I measured was 181 feet. Obviously, I'm not measuring the vast majority of my throws. Maybe some of you do that. I do not. Also in 2022, I played my first tournament and my first league nights. My first tournament, I signed up for the Women's Global event that happened in August. Ahead of that, because I was a little nervous about going to disc golf. Like, I've never disc golfed alone still. I think the one time I attempted it, I wasn't technically alone. I had Frankie with me. He was not having a good time, and so we quit. So I was super nervous. I get a little socially anxious. And so I found out, fortunately, that there was a Dolls League, Disc On Ladies League, a few days before the Women's Global. So I went to that, met a few of the women who I then saw a few days later at the Women's Global event. Then I played one more tournament and I think 1 or 2 more league nights, and that was it. So, as I look to 2023, some of my goals, obviously, one of my biggest goals is bogeying fewer holes. I don't know if this is realistic. I don't know if it's a stretch goal, but I'm thinking 50% of holes bogeyed. If I can reduce my bogey percentage by 13%, that would be awesome. I obviously want to beat par. That would be great, even if it is on one of the just pretty open 9-hole courses around here. Beating par would be a big win for me. I do want to go play Blue Ribbon Pines again and see if I can do better than plus 42 at some point. I do really want to get an ace. I did get close a few times. There are a few holes at a couple of my favorite courses where I know it's doable. I just have to get that shot on the basket. And then in terms of my longest throw, I definitely want to increase my strength and distance this year. Again, that's an area where I just have no idea what's achievable. And it's something I need to work for. So we'll see. I think it'll just be interesting to use my last year longest 181 measured as a benchmark for next year when I kind of can see where I am. Then lastly, I do want to play more tournaments and league nights this year. That was such a fun opportunity to play with women, since so much of my play, as I mentioned, has been with men, mostly recently my husband and a couple of our friends. There's just something different about playing with women. I found it to be such an encouraging environment. Conversation is a little different. Talking about how we do things is so different. So I'm really looking forward to that for this year. In terms of courses, like I said, it's going to be tough to beat 20 new courses. It might even be tough to beat 27 courses total. But I do think my husband and I are both excited to play a lot this year. There are a few courses around here that we didn't get a chance to play last year that we want to. So we'll see if we can maybe find a babysitter so that we can hit up some of the hillier spots that are harder to do with a stroller. I'm also hoping to throw an international round, but we'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself on that one. So, do you think there's anything I missed? Any goals I should be setting? Anything I should keep in mind in terms of reasonable goals? Let me know in the comments. So, stay tuned and we'll see if I hit these goals. Thanks for watching. See you next time.